I got the score. It wasn't pretty much. It was 680. I found a video of Crackverbal on YouTube. A guy with 680 got into ISB. Okay, there is a chance that I try again, score above 700, and then start applying. Or I could just try Crackverbal now and maybe see if I can save a year.
If you just tell us, just briefly, like where you were coming from when you approached this whole MBA journey. How did you decide on doing the MBA?
Completed my engineering 2014. I was a hardcore mechanical engineer. So I even won a few competitions like Supra. We stood first all over India when we raced at both international circuits. So after that, I immediately started my own venture. Uh, I started taking up interior designing jobs like carpentry works. I have a workshop of fabrication. So I started making metal products for home utility. Then in 2015, in 2014, I started preparing for a CAT. But I before even I appeared for CAT, I gave my CETs, Maharashtra MBA CET. So I got into Pune University Department of Management Science. We abbreviate it as Pune, one of the finest college available in Pune. I am from Pune, so I
Hmm.
didn't go out of Maharashtra ever. First of all, there was no incubation center there.
Hmm.
The year I was about to graduate was their first incubation activity that they took. So I participated in it, and I was one of the finalists. So even from then, I was in 2015 as well. I started my own private limited company while I was studying for MBA. It was full-time MBA, but I used to do both the things. As I was always into this business thing, incubation startups and all. So I did a bit of startup consultation as well while I was in my businesses. I did a few investments in a few startups as well. One of them was successful, other than my own business. So,
Hmm.
but I wanted to grow more. And
Hmm.
when I started going out for funding for myself, I started to realize that the thing that I lack is a good brand name. The college that I come from, uh, to prove myself, because I was going for seed funding. They see where you come from. So
Yeah.
I was never a very theoretical, bookish person. I always believed in practical knowledges. I always went for practical things, extracurricular activities. So I wanted to get into a good school. So my brother, who is already got into IIM Lucknow, he suggested me, why don't you go through, and as it was COVID years,
Yeah.
so as I had
Hmm.
time, I started preparing, and then I started with GMAT, and in a year I got the scores of 680. So the real challenge is when I thought it began, because I had a plan. I had, this was my thing, that I have a good concept and all. So I yeah, there were a few things that I could learn more through a premium I management school. But for me, it was mostly that I have a plan. I want to work on it, and I want guidance from people who have achieved something like this. Like, we hear about startups like IMB students have this startup, IMK students, and IMCA. All the students, Lucknow students have startups. So who go to unicorn level. I have my startup, but it's not a unicorn level, right? But
Hmm.
the new concept that I had, I believed a lot in it, and I think it can go up to a good unicorn level as well. So I wanted to get in such a school.
Got it.
So after that, I had no idea how to approach the schools. So I called Crackverbal, and my journey started.
First major hurdle is
Hmm.
GMAT, obviously, right? So, like, how
Yes.
did you start with the
Hmm.
GMAT prep? First of all, how did you plan that out?
My brother had already taken up a few courses. Like while he was studying for CAT, he was also preparing for GMAT side by side, either or that. So he had a few
Hmm.
subscriptions already. So I used that one. So I guess it was like 2, 3 classes that he had. So I used that, and basically it was like, yeah, the studying part was very hard. I literally secluded myself from everything. So I
Hmm.
used to lock myself. I got a new place. I rented a place. I rented a room, and
Wow.
I studied there, like stayed there, like apart from everything. Even the COVID years was there, but I used to still manage, like get my own food and everything. When I stayed at home, na, it was too much comfort zone, like
Correct.
comfortable. I used to get lazy and all. So
Hmm.
that's how it was. Mostly some a few online courses, but and OG. Like
Hmm.
in my first, it wasn't my first attempt. I guess I did it in my second or third attempt. So OG is one of the things like, and GMAT, the prep test that I got from MBA.com. They were a lot of help to crack the score.
How did you first come to hear about Crackverbal? I'd be very interested to know.
While I was browsing, so I got the score. It wasn't pretty much. It was 680, but I didn't want to spend another year. I thought I could have done better,
Hmm.
but with 680, I found a video of Crackverbal on YouTube. Like a guy with 680 got into ISB. So I was like, okay, there is a chance that I try again for like a year, score above 700 and then start applying. Or I could just try crack verbal now and maybe see if I can save a year. So that's when I decided, and that's how I decided to go with crack verbal.
Application slash experience at Crackverbal. If you can throw some light into how the mentor, how was the whole experience?
So initially, when I got onboarded, I guess I was very confused about what am I going to do, what I'm going to say, because I also consulted a few students who had already applied, or a few that I thought I can speak to, like who have such background. So there were 2, 3 things, like there were I have then I went into college free man. So whatever information I had gathered and all, so I approached her with with a dilemma, like with two options. Like everyone suggested me go with a story that everyone feels it's okay. So don't talk about your startup, because most of the colleges don't want to get a guy who comes from a business and again wants to go into a business or something like that. So they want someone who is more employable, who come from such backgrounds and goes into such backgrounds. Um, and the second option was for me to be honest. Like I come from a business background, I have a startup idea. After completing everything, I will be going for my startup. There is a chance that I might take up a job for uh, that I can take up a job which fulfills my like hunger for work or what I want to achieve. Like I want to achieve something. So if not, I'll go for a startup. So when I approached Freeman, like she was very like first of all, she made me believe what I want to do. Like so, the other thing was I want to be a consultant and get a good job. But what my passion was, she asked me to follow my passion, and that was very comforting for me. And it was my comfort zone because I was going to be. She asked me to be the person who I was. So I went with my plan, the story of a startup that I want to build after my college days, or at least a long-term view. So she got me out of that dilemma. And after that came the essay writing process. So my mentor for essay writing was also like quite sharp. So he asked the format that I received from him to write my own story. That made me realize like I was a bit insecure about what I've done or from where I came, and like what would I say, what would I pitch, what I have done. Like I know I did business, so I had a startup, I built it up from scratch, I took it to a level. But when you like go in a micro level, I never thought in the micro level that he asked me to think of myself. Like he asked me to write a few achievements. And when I started writing achievements, like, okay, I've done this, I've done that, I've designed this, I've designed that. And when I again went through those points, now I could see myself as, okay, I'm not that bad. I have achieved something, I have done really
Yes.
good something. Like, this is smart work that I have done because
Yeah.
I I didn't get time to analyze myself when I was doing it. I was like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, and I was running with things. After completing this, I like went on to another thing. So, and then at the end of the day, it was like, I just did work that I am supposed to do. I earned
Mm-hmm.
money, and that's all. But when I wrote this everything, I was like, okay, there's innovation in this. Okay, that's strategizing in this. I have that's redesigning. Like, okay, that's something I can write and say about. So, and there were a lot of stories. He asked me to write 7, 8. I had written almost
Mm-hmm.
15, 16 of them.
Nice.
So I was like, I felt proud of myself and confident about myself. So yeah, then uh, he helped me with the stories that I should choose from, with the formatting and the ACs. And to be honest, I never thought I could get in like 680. I was very on the edge. Like even if I was like,
Mm-hmm.
even if I get into the get through the AC part now, I'll crack it. But because my percentages weren't high in my academics, as I said, I was never a bookish person. I used to like get into extracurricular activities. So my percentages are always bad. In my first call, I said to him, okay, just get me through this AC part and interviews I'll manage because I was confident when I spoke with three men. Na? So after that, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, interview to crack kar lunga. I don't know about the essay part. But when I read my essays and all, the way he helped me to write my essays, then I was pretty confident, and I can happily say that wherever I applied, I got a call from everywhere, be it
Great to
AB,
hear.
ISB, Lucknow, SPJ, like, not SPJ, Lucknow. So these were the five calls.
It will be also nice to know how you
Yeah.
managed that interview process. How was the interview prep?
I had a lot of to say. So, like, how do I put it? Is what I learned from my interview prep. During like stream, I did ask me like you go with the story, the AC version. So, but when I started speaking, like uh, the right things should come across when I speak and all. So that was really helpful. Interviews were good, and yeah, basically gave me a sense of what should I say. And the questions uh, in the interview prep were also pretty in line of what I was asked. Like uh, I would say like ISB and these questions were almost very similar. Like it was a repeat interview.
A lot of people will be starting their prep or thinking about MBA, right?
Hmm.
And going through the same things that you went through year back.
Yeah.
Right? So, like,
Hmm.
what would you, if tell them, like, what would you let these people know about how to approach this whole thing?
What I realized, or for me, what worked was to be honest, really. So like I know they like somewhere I did encounter that they are looking for employable people. Like when I went into the room and they asked me why an MBA. When I gave them my startup thing, uh, a job or a startup, but mostly in long term, like down like 15, 20 years, it will be at the end of the day the start. So uh, when I said that now, what their point of view was that you can join our incubation center directly. Why an MBA here? Why an MBA? So that thing now, why an MBA and where? So you may not be in line of what they want, but when you are what you are now, you can be confident and about what you say or why an MBA, because that's only one thing that they want to hear. Why an MBA? Why here? Is like you should have your conscience clear. If you went in with another story that you think will help you get a better image and help them hire you, so that will never work. So be true, be what you are, and be clear. Only then you will be able to answer their questions. May it not be what they are expecting, but it's the only way. If you want to get in, that's the only way. Because when you start lying, these interviewers are pretty smart. Like they know how to capture. They know that okay, you are just making up answers, or it's not your passion, and you are still here. So you are not answering truly. It's what like a few of the students that were there. You used to ask them like, "By what happened? What did they say?" They are like, a few students told me like he was like, "This is not your answer. This is some rata hua answer from some counselor or something. Tell me why you want to do this. Like, what's your motivation?" Everyone knows that good salary and all, but why an MBA here? How is it's going to help and all?
First of all, congratulate and just to get your experience. So this has been very, very helpful. And I'm glad and I hope that we were very happy to be part of your journey to your IIMs and to your dream school. So congrats again.